All right. Thanks for joining me. Episode 6 of GBG, Green Bay Greg. You know what? I didn't start off this episode with any intro music, any intro poetry. You know why? I didn't feel like it. Deal with it. There's one thing you've probably learned in the previous 5 episodes of this show. Kind of do what I want when I want. You know what? Love it or leave it. I really don't care. I might listen to some comments or read some comments and play them back. I really don't know. I haven't decided yet. Anyway, thanks for joining me on whether you're on the RTF Sports Network, on our website, Twist Sports Talk, Facebook, watching me live maybe. You know what? I appreciate it anyway. Once again, Green Bay Greg coming at you, one of the hosts of Twist, The Weekend Sports Talk, with my boys, Mike on the mic, Matt, Benzi's Bit, both also on the RTS Sports Network. We play all those also on YouTube, on Facebook, got some live broadcasts on that. What else we on? We're on Twist. They're on Twitter. I have Twitter, I think. I have a couple of different Twitter accounts. I get the little notification on my phone that says I get, tweeted or retweeted or something. Those guys, Matt and Mike, are in a competition to see who can get the most followers. Personally, I think that's like joining a fraternity in college. It's like you got to pay for friends. Don't really care. You know what? For Mike's the one who puts all this stuff out there. Mike's the straw that stirs the drink. I cook the meal. Mike serves it to everyone else. So anyway, speaking of those guys, in every episode of the show, I've been pretty good about, talking about something that deals with the three of us and, all of us on Twist. And, okay, we broke down the NFC. Okay. So we, me and the boys we'll talk about something. I usually break down something. Sometimes I rip on them. They've been doing some great episodes on their shows. Like I said, Mike on the mic and Benzi's Bit. The funny thing that those guys each have segments for. Mike on his show, Mike on the mic, will talk about a food. Usually it's a snack food. Maybe it's a candy. And Matt will kind of endorse or give his review on a restaurant that he ate at. Here's the thing. Both those guys are doing, whether you call it a diet, whether you call it intermittent fasting, they are kicking ass getting down to, what they feel their target weight is. The reason why I don't do anything like that on my show is because if I explain to anybody in detail what I ate, when I ate, and how much of it I ate, I wouldn't have any friends. Nobody would talk to me, and I would probably have death threats against me. I have not grown out of teenage metabolism, and I'm 44 years old. I still wear the same size pants I did when I was 18. Deal with it. So if I explain to you guys what I eat, well, first of all, there'd be a cardiologist following me around at all times looking to make some money. I'm a walking angioplasty waiting to happen. But it is what it is. So, we're just going to have some fun today. I do really appreciate those guys and, what they do on their show, how they break down fun things like that. I think Mike did like a different flavor, or different style of Twix candy earlier today, or whenever he did his show. And Matt breaks down different restaurants, which gives me an idea of, what I can eat. I just don't have to wait for a cheat day to do it. So first thing I want to get into, like we do every week on this show, is our sports talkers, kind of what's going on in the world of sports. What's talking about athletes, talking about teams. The first thing I wanted to get into is Jamal Adams, safety for the Jets in his third year, going into his fourth year, still on his rookie contract, is demanding a trade. Now, we talked about it on Twist. He's demanding a trade to one of seven different teams. And of those 7 different teams, you can guess how many of them were either in the playoffs last year or are strong contenders to be in the playoffs this year. If your number that you guessed was 7, you are correct. Yeah, you know what, Jamal Adams? Here's the thing, and let me let you know a little secret. Nobody cares. Your veteran teammates and the veteran players in the league decided to create this quote-unquote rookie salary cap because they were sick of players like you coming into the league signing contracts where you're getting $60-70 million in signing bonuses and huge contracts. And, the top 10, 15 picks in the draft were all, getting more than a lot of really established veterans. So they established this rookie salary cap. And if you're a first-round draft pick, the team has an option to keep you for a fifth year on this contract. In other words, you want a big contract, you got to earn it. Now, there's a lot of times that we've been seeing in the news lately, and I'll get into it in my next story, where running backs, they have a very short shelf life. So there's a lot of times where these guys are looking at it and saying, hey, I want my money now. And there's times, in Ezekiel Elliott's case, in CMC, Christian McCaffrey's case, teams are willing to give him the money because, there's an exception to the rule. But what's not an exception to the rule, Jamal Adams? Safeties. Sorry, you're not going to get that huge money. And are they going to trade you? I'm sure they'll listen to the phone. I'm sure they'll pick up the phone if it rings. But for the love of God, you're not in the driver's seat on this one, buddy. You're just going to have to deal with it. And you know what? If you want to get traded, watch yourself. Last time I checked, you don't have a no trade clause. You don't have an I can only go to these certain teams that I want clause. You're going to find your ass in Jacksonville in a second, buddy. You know what? Play out your contract, earn your next contract, and when you do finish your fifth year, if you still are what you consider yourself, which is the best safety in the league, then sign wherever you want. Get your quan then. But until then, you got to play by the rules that were created for you by your predecessors and the veterans in the league. So that's story number one. Number two is going off of this. Dalvin Cook is, demanding more money from the Vikings, wanting to get out of his guaranteed for next year $1.3 million. You know what? This is the interesting thing because he is a running back. They do make exceptions for running backs because it is understood that their shelf life is so short. In his case, it's just a matter of bad timing, dude. Yes, I'm a Packer fan, if you can tell by the background in the room here. You can tell by the nickname. By the way, I am thinking about trademarking the name Green Bay Greg. Might as well make a little money on it. My point is, you're kind of late to the party, dude. Mike and the Mike made a great comment. He said, you're walking into the bank after the bank's closed. If you're going to do this, buddy, you might not want to do it on a team that is struggling to draft the 732 draft picks that you picked up. You had to let a lot of really good guys, including Everson Griffin right now, who's looking to get on a team and would have probably knowing Everson, not that I know him personally, but knowing what he's reading what you read about him in the papers, he probably would have given Minnesota a little bit of a discount. Problem is that bag with the money in it, running low. If you wanted this money, Dalvin, you should have did it right at the beginning right when the season ended. And then they could have adjusted some money. Will you get some money? Sure. I'm sure they can move some money around. I'm sure they'll be able to do something with it. But you know what? Food for thought, players that are right now, seniors in college, rookies, whatever it is, if you're going to demand money and you're on a team that's struggling to meet the salary cap, remind yourself you're not playing for the Yankees. This isn't Major League Baseball. There isn't an endless pile of money. The next thing I wanted to get into, Dak Prescott apparently is going to sign his franchise tag where he's going to get, what is it, like 31, 33, whatever it is, $1 million for the year. Good for you, dude. You know what? You finally sorry. Sometimes I just talk so much. Let me just get a little more water. Sometimes I talk so much and so fast, the old throat dries up. But you know what? We're going to plug away. We're going to tough through it. So Dak is going to sign the franchise tag. Nice thinking. No matter what happens with COVID or unrest or anything that's going on, whether they start listening to Dr. Fauci and start putting players in bubbles or they just say F it, whatever it is, at least your money's guaranteed. Fight another fight. $31 million is generational money for anyone who doesn't have the letters QB attached to their name on a score sheet. So it's good money. Take it while you can. Good for you. So the next story I wanted to get into in the sports talkers is golf. With some sports coming back, some sports aren't yet. Gives us sports fans an opportunity to kind of focus on one sport. I know that, my dad happens to be a big golf fan, loves watching it on TV. I'm a big golf fan. But in full honesty, if I don't know who's in it, you might have my attention for an hour. If I know who's in, who's in contention, who's looking to win on a Saturday and a Sunday, I'm going to watch it more. Webb Simpson ended up winning this past week, but the story to watch really when you look at it over the past couple of weeks is Bryson DeChambeau. I don't want to say came out of nowhere. I heard of him last year, but by no means is he a top 10 golfer. And this year he's finishing in the top 10 in contention, usually on Saturdays and Sundays. But watching that guy is ripped. It's like watching Happy Gilmore without the attitude. Guy's got legs for arms, just ripped, and he just drives the living crap out of the ball. It's fun to watch, and he's doing well. So in this day and age where we're kind of getting sports kind of spoon-fed to us like we're a child, little by little, you know what? Find a story to watch that's interesting. Okay, so what I was really trying to do with my show today is be a little more lighthearted before I got into this. Last night during the NASCAR race in Talladega, which was suspended and will go on Monday afternoon at Talladega because of weather, someone noticed a noose. Yeah, I said it, a noose. In Bubba Wallace's garage, the 43 car, also the only African-American driver in NASCAR. And I'm going to stay positive to start off with. What I'm going to get into right away is that Bubba Wallace is a class act. I do not pretend to be a NASCAR fan. I don't pretend to know the drivers, but I'll tell you what, I am a huge Bubba Wallace fan. You know, I wish he was playing a sport that had jerseys because I'd buy one, and I'm not a jersey guy. He is a class freaking act. If you're a parent and you look at your kids and they're emulating, you know, some pro athlete, you know, there's a lot of people you can look up to. He is one of them. This guy is a class act. Every time there's a camera in front of him and a microphone in front of him, he says and does the right thing. Now, for the guy, whoever it is, and they'll find you, whoever it is, I got one message for you. Don't be a fucking coward. You did it. Okay, great. That's how you feel. You're entitled to your opinion. Put your goddamn address on, you know, Facebook, on Twitter, whatever it is. You're so proud of what you did. Let's let some Southern justice take care of you. You know, quit speaking on, you know, behind closed doors, behind, you know, the shadows. You're so damn proud of your Confederate pride, your rebel pride. Put it out there. Give your name. Give your address. Let's see what happens to you, you freaking coward. You know, I am getting really sick and tired of racist assholes going out and hiding behind the curtains. Yeah, you post your message. You're trolling. You're doing whatever. Stick your neck out there. You a big man. I'm not tough. I'm not tough at all. I don't fight. I don't claim to be a fighter. You know what I also don't do? Make racist freaking comments and put nooses in the lockers in the garages of African-American drivers who are nothing but a class act. So you want to be a big shot? You want to stand up for your rebel pride and put your money where your mouth is, Daddy-o. You know, I'm getting sick of this. You know, if you have your opinion, I'm the first one that says if you have your opinion, stick to it. Everyone's entitled to your opinion. You're also entitled to the consequences. And I have a feeling that if you put your name to what you did by putting that noose out there, the consequences you're going to face is a boot up your ass. You know what? I'd love to see it. For the love of God, freaking pussy. I know Mike right now, I know that Mike from Mike on the Mic is laughing his ass off because I really don't swear. You know, not just on our show Twist, not just on this one, but there's sometimes when I just get freaking fired up. And this is one of those times. Bubba Wallace, you know what? Speaking on behalf of one white guy, and you know what? Probably 99.9999% of all white people, you're a class act. You're a good guy. And I applaud you. And you have another fan in me, and I'm sure that you're gaining more and more fans all across the country and the world every day. You know, I know when my kid grows up, I look and I have a million different people that he can look up to. You're on that list. So, moving on. Ugh. All right, let's move on. Okay, so now for the GBG moment of Zen. Last night I got the opportunity, actually I recorded it, watched it a little this morning. The ESPN ESPY Awards. This year was different. It's for those of you who might not be familiar. Sorry, my dad posting this on there on the Bubba Wallace thing. If you need someone to fight left to, thanks a lot. That's chief of police right there. The guy owns more guns than most small cities. So let's go right into this. So watching the ESPYs last night, for those of you who do not know what the ESPYs are, I have one question for you. Why are you watching this? The ESPYs are the Sports Entertainment Awards. And what it's turned into more and more over the past couple of years is kind of shying away from the specific athletes who win trophies and championships and teams that win trophies and championships and coaches. But they're really moving over the past couple of years more into those good feeling stories, those humanitarian stories. And a couple that I wanted to point out, there was a football player, a high school football player in Minneapolis who was burned to the point where he's got a lot of deformities on his face. He was given the Muhammad Ali Humanitarian Award. Good for him. It was a great story to see. I might be off on the award. Kevin Love was given the Arthur Ashe Award for his stance and his not really stance, but the way he was willing to come out and talk about mental health issues and how he deals with a lot of stress and anxiety issues, and how all he did was really just write a letter and then stick to it. And I give him a lot of credit for that, because in professional sports locker rooms, there is that mantra that you got to be tough. No crying, no emotions. And Kevin Love really let his emotions out a few years ago, back in 2017. I talked about it on my show, but he did get the recognition that he deserves. The one I wanted to talk about really was Layla Ali, daughter of Muhammad Ali, presented through, whether it was Skype or StreamYard or Zoom or whatever they were doing, presented the Muhammad Ali Humanitarian Award to Nelson Cruz for all the stuff that he did in his neighborhood and his community in the Dominican Republic, buying buses, really helping out the community. And what was really touching about that was Nelson Cruz and how he overcome with emotion he was. And it was really cool to see, because you can tell that it meant a lot to him. It wasn't just an athlete going up there saying, hey, thank you, I want to thank God, I want to thank my family. He was overcome with emotion, and I watched it over and over again. It was a good 30 seconds where he really couldn't come up with thoughts, words. And it was really cool to see. It was a really humble moment by a really good baseball player who's got a lot of on-the-field accomplishments. And now off the field, as you can tell, this is probably as big, if not bigger than any of that when it comes to his accomplishments. So moving on, I want to go outside the arena. Last week, Sunday, they showed on ESPN's 30 for 30, they showed Long Gone Summer, which was the story of Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa in the summer of '98. Now, a little background on this. This was when I was in college, and me and two of my buddies had a summer job where we traveled around the Midwest doing construction work. It was a 3-man crew. We were living in hotels, and for most of the summer, fortunately, we spent it in suburbs of Chicago. And this is before the internet, before Wi-Fi and hotel rooms. So me and my friend Bob would run down when we wake up in the morning, run down the lobby, grab the USA Today, see who hit a homer. Was it McGwire? Was it Sosa? For a while there, was it Griffey? He kind of dropped off that pace, but it was really cool to relive that, and it was really cool to see, especially Mark McGwire, not especially because he ended up winning it, because he was more open in this interview about his use of steroids. I'll use this phrase a lot, just serve me the meal. Don't tell me how it's made. Baseball, you needed something to happen in your sport to gain its popularity. It kind of, after the strike of '94 lockout, when they didn't have a World Series, it started to come back a little bit a year or two after, when Cal Ripken broke Lou Gehrig's record for consecutive games. But it really came back in the summer of '98 when McGwire and Sosa went after the home run chase. You got your fans back. And now you're criticizing these guys for taking steroids. You know what? I love brats. I don't need to know how they're made. I don't care if these guys took steroids. You know what? In baseball, either should you. You didn't have a testing policy in place. If you had a testing policy in place, then they broke the rules. All they really did was take advantage of the fact that you didn't have a rule in place. So you know what? Like I said, Sammy Sosa still skirts around the issue, still talks about everyone else was doing it. Mark McGwire was really open about it. And I give him a lot of credit for that, because it was cool of him. He was a man to do that. So I'm going to move on a little bit. Before we close out this show, my challenge for the week. On my show, over the past couple of weeks, and even earlier in this episode, I get pretty serious. I talk about a lot of stuff that really pulls at the emotional strings, emotional heartstrings. My challenge for this week is to find something lighthearted in something going on in your life, but keep it appropriate. In other words, don't talk about COVID to someone who might have a relative who's living in an assisted living center, because those people are more susceptible and more at risk. Don't talk about, don't make jokes about civil unrest at all, but find stuff to be lighthearted about. Find something to smile about. Find something to be in a good mood about. On Twist, the Week in Sports Talk, me and the boys broke down about who we would take on our football team, fantasy football draft with superheroes. Now, full disclosure, I had a consultant that I had to hire for my team. He's my 9-year-old son, Connor, needed his advice. Then after I told him who was on my team, and his response was, Dad, how come they let you pick your 5 guys first? Because my team is so amazing. But we had a lot of fun with it. Matt, on the other hand, obviously does not watch superhero movies or pick up comic books, because his first pick wasn't even a superhero. He was a super villain. Mike, mimicked a lot of my picks. I went Superman. He went Supergirl. I went Wonder Woman. He went Vision. Interesting thought. If we're going to have to pick who had the best team, obviously it was mine. I mean, I got a bunch of gods on my team. And those guys, one of the guys, I think it was Matt, took Spider-Man. How worthwhile is Spider-Man on your football team unless there's, buildings on the sidelines and light poles in the middle of the field? What's he going to cling those webs to, dude? Come on, you're better than that. Well, maybe you're not. But anyway, my point to that whole thing is find something to joke around about, find something to be lighthearted about this week. There's enough going on in this world that's way too serious. But you know what? We can all find an opportunity to smile. And, that's all I got for this week. I really enjoyed doing this. I enjoy your time. Hopefully, once again, this was the best 23 minutes of your week. If it wasn't, well, you must have had a pretty exciting week. So until next week, take it easy. Have a great week. God bless. And GBG out.